Hi, I'm Anirudh Singhal, founder of Speedx Bars and a part of the DLC Global Wine, Spirits and Cigar Committee Delhi chapter. In this DLC Talks, I'm going to talk about an expert's guide on building the perfect home bar. Why a home bar? It's important because we all end up at the neighborhood dive bar getting a drink. But in the last couple of years, we've all spent a majority of our life in our confinements of the home. That gives us an idea that why not have a great bar at home? Well, we all have a great kitchen at home to cook our favorite food. Why not have a great bar so that we can get ourselves entertained any time of the day? That got us to build bars for Indian homes. What is so different about these bars? One of the core reasons which we thought is a differentiator is when you're entertaining yourself or your guests at home to make a drink, you do not want to go back to the kitchen. But invariably, in all Indian homes, you end up going to the kitchen, whether it's about getting more ice, it's about getting a chilled beer, or some tonic for your gin. We wanted to eradicate that part. How can I not go into the kitchen and continue refilling my drinks in my own home? That's the core of building a good home bar. Internationally, this is a very common practice, having bars at home, because they also have the luxury of great space both outdoors and indoors. Unfortunately, the belly of India doesn't have that. We've got smaller homes, we've got apartments, we've got Tony houses. So, how can we maximize corners in homes which give us the benefit of making our favorite cocktail or our drink? Therefore, we encapsulated a bar called the Model X. Now, what is a Model X? It's a functional 3 feet by 2 feet bar which has an inbuilt refrigerator. It has display cabinets to stock about 25 bottles of liquor. It has space to store your wine, and most importantly, it has space on the top for you to show off your cocktail skills. Because today, everyone at home wants to be a bartender. That's an alter ego of sorts. And we are allowing that to happen because we're giving you the chance of putting your garnishes, your mixers, your ice, all of that you need to make your own drink. Basically, have fun while fixing a drink for yourself. That's the idea of having a good bar, functionality being the key. If you see now, 7 days in a week, you wouldn't go out to a regular watering hole. You would spend some time at home, you would spend some time outside. Maybe you will head out on the weekends, but maybe not on the weekday. Now, what do you do when you come back home from work, tired, and you want to take it easy, sit back, fix yourself an old-fashioned? You got to run to the kitchen to pick up the sugar cubes, look for the orange, slice it, look for the nearest garbage bin, find your whiskey bottle, and then go looking for ice. Imagine all of this is in one place. That's a good home bar. That is what we are striving to build. So it does not deter a user to make a complex cocktail even on a tired Monday night, let alone a Saturday night. And that is why I feel that home bars is going to be a very, very big trend in India because you will not go out 7 days a week. You will go out sometimes, you will entertain sometimes. Your partner would entertain his or her guests, you would entertain them, or just you, husband and wife, would want to sit back before Netflix and chill, just fix yourself a drink. That's why home bars is something which is a very, very strong trend which is catching up. There are also bars in Indian homes which are very heavy on wines. In the last 5 to 6 years, there has been an advent of wines across homes. People have traveled abroad. They have started liking and appreciating wines. They have become connoisseurs. Therefore, it means it's also very important to have a good wine cellar in a home bar, which means it's temperature controlled. It stores your expensive wines which you would have got from that recent Europe trip, and it maintains it at the right temperature. Because you remember, room temperature is a fallacy in India because room temperature is European room temperature, which is usually 15 to 18 degrees. But in Indian homes, unfortunately, room temperatures go north of 35 degrees. Therefore, the wine can get spoiled, which makes it imperative to have a wine cellar so you can stock your wine in the right temperature zones. So important to talk about the display in a home bar. Now you want to show off your alcohol collection because that's what you're displaying it for. But it's a dichotomy because in Indian homes a lot of people are not comfortable displaying alcohol, because of religious sentiments, because they're living with elder citizens and many other reasons. So that's why it's a hybrid to have a home bar in India with or without the display. It's important to keep that in mind when you're building your bar, that you may not want those 20-30 bottles staring at you all the time, even when it's a Monday morning, So it's important to keep that, shutter on or have that option to shut it down whenever not in use. That is an important ergonomic and a functional element of a good home bar in Indian homes. What gets me to the next point about good bars at Indian homes is how well is it stocked. Now, you obviously have to build a great, efficient bar. That's important. It has to look great. It has to look very classy. It has to set within the look and feel of your home. But it's also very important to stock it well. Now, we as Indian consumers are now getting exposed to the varietals of alcohol which are common in the West, but now getting into India. For example, it's no longer just par for course to have a couple of single malt bottles and just whiskey bottles. There are many other spirits which are becoming very, very, very critical in part of a good home bar. Gin, for instance, we know that we have about 7 or 8 Indian gin brands now available across the market because there are so many craft gins coming up, which means that it's a good idea not to wait for your next international trip that you can pick up some good duty-free alcohol. You can pick up some great local craft gins and stock your bars with it because that gives you the flexibility to pick and choose a gin of your choice. For example, you could have a Terai gin, you could have a Stranger and Sons, you could have a Hapusa, you could have a Greater Than, and so on and so forth. It also is becoming more and more important to get the right amount of tonic. Earlier, back in the day, we would have just a Schweppes tonic to go with, or maybe a Catch tonic. Now, so much so, you have 8 to 10 tonic brands available at your disposal to pick up from your retail store. This is again very important because if you have a bar, you may as well stock it with as many varietals as you can, whether you use it or not. In Indian grown tonic brands, you have so many brands which have come up in the recent past, from Jade Forest tonic to Swami tonic and many more. The idea is all of them have different flavor compounds and some go better with a particular gin or just on ice as it is. That gives us another opportunity to stock more wines. Now, you may not want to have wine every day. India is not a wine drinking nation of sorts, but like I said just a short while ago, a lot of people are waking up to the concept of having wine regularly through the week, which means that you've got to stock good wines too. Therefore, a good wine selection in your home bar is a must-have. Rums as a spirit is again catching up internationally as well as in India. Gone are the days where the only rum Indians would have sort of had was the old monk rum. Now you have so many dark rums, you have aged rums, so much so that rums are now becoming the new single malt. You have single estate rums. So that is when you go abroad and you pick up that estate rum and put it in your home bar. It's a showpiece item. To stock your bars better, you must also look at great beers. Now we have the exposure of buying a lot of craft beers from across the cities in the country. It's no longer limited to just Kingfisher, for example. We have great beer brands like Bira, Kati Patang, you have Bro Codes, and so many other beers, which is why having a great chiller and a refrigerator in your bar is par for course, so that you can stock all your beers, you can stock all your tonics and your soft beverages. Apart from this, what's also very important in a good home bar is the lighting. You need to make sure wherever your bar is, you have the right lighting around it, because at the end of the day, when you're having a drink, it's all about mood. And therefore, it's about mood lighting. You may be able to dim that area, you may be able to brighten it depending upon the setup or the time of the day, but it's also very important to remember that lighting has to be a part of a good home bar. One more element which we think is sort of integral in a good home bar is the music. Now, a lot of these bars which we make are coming inbuilt with sound systems. So you have speakers in the bar. You don't have to depend on your Alexas or your other Bluetooth speakers or your Bose speakers. You have one right in the bar, which is powered on whenever you need it. And then you have your various Spotify playlists. You can just use them, and depending upon the mood of the evening, you're playing that kind of music. Why it's important to talk so much in detail about home bars is that imagine you have guests over, you have your friends over from work or from college or from wherever your social circle gets to. If you have a good-looking bar where you're making your drink, that invariably becomes the talking point, the bar itself. It's like getting a new toy. It's like getting a new car. It is what is belting out all your drinks. So majority of your guests will be talking about that bar. So it makes complete sense to spend a lot of money, energy, time, and effort in making that bar look as swanky and as efficient as possible, because your larger chunk of the party is going to be around that bar, and people will keep talking about it, which makes it very, very critical to get a kick-ass bar which looks good, does the job, and it's a talking point of the evening. So that's why we feel as a whole, home bars is a trend which is picking up. It's really on the ante. As a statistics to give you, our home bars at Speedx, we sell them digitally across platforms like Pepperfry, Tata Click, Global Luxury, Amazon, our own website. And on a number, we sell about 7 to 8 bars a day. And these are pan-India numbers, which is each bar costing about 60 to 65,000 rupees. This is going into homes where people have been living for years or are moving into new homes. And this is spread over all major cities of the country, including tier 2s and tier 3s. I was recently talking about how this trend is catching up, because even cities where we would never imagine a bar would go. For instance, we got a bar ordered from a city, Haridwar. You would imagine it's a religious town, pilgrimage. Last thing anyone needs there is a bar. But no, kid me not. It's right there. People are ordering from those cities, as well as up in the hills, down south to the coast. So this trend is already up on the rise, and we feel that it's only going to increase from here. Therefore, as many products which come in, which fit into the home bar space, it's going to benefit the consumer. One recent trend which is caught up in the home bar space is bottled cocktails. A lot of customers go to their favorite bars or restaurants. They go for their regular cocktails, which they go and have there. But when they get back home, they're not able to recreate that same cocktail experience. Why? Because it's obviously a skilled job. The bartender is much better at it. He's more able as opposed to a regular consumer. So now you have these bottled cocktails which you can go and buy and stock it in your fridge, which means next time you want to have that old fashioned which you had at your favorite bar, all you need to do is pull it out, put it in a glass, stir it, and drink it. It's an extension of an experience which a lot of bars and restaurants are noticing, because they realize that a majority of your week you are spending at home. So you may not be coming to the local neighborhood bar, so may as well the bar gets to you by the virtue of getting their cocktails bottled. And therefore you are having some sort of a similar experience, but in the confines of your living room or your bedroom or wherever else. Which is why, again, I say that the trends of home bars is on a massive rise. Another innovative experience which a lot of bar owners and restaurateurs are putting across now to target this home bar space is their music playlists. Now, when you go to your local bar, you obviously have music playing there. And each bar has its own genre of music playing through the evenings or through the day. And they're characteristic in the nature of the bar. You would know that this particular bar plays this genre of music, whereas this bar plays another type of music. Now, these bars have their own playlists on Spotify and on Amazon Musics. So, for example, if I'm sitting in the evening and my favorite jazz club bar music is what I need an access to, I just log on to Spotify and I listen to their playlists. That gets me into that zone virtually, that I may not be sitting in that bar, but I have their favorite cocktail, I have their music playing, but in the confine of my own living room with a very nice, efficient home bar. Which is why this whole rounded experience of bars at home is very important. It's on the rise, and we can only see this space getting hotter and hotter, and we are enjoying being in this part of the business, which is the Speedx home bars. I'm amazed to be part of such a great business platform, DLC. Why? Because imagine we sell bars for homes, and so many members which are of this platform and viewers who use this platform came to know about us and decided to get in touch with us and buy our bars. So I can only see benefits being part of such a great business community, and this only keeps on increasing by the day, which means my audience and my customer base keeps on increasing by the day. So more power to you, DLC. Thank you.